Beth. I want to call this meeting to order. Thank you all for coming out on such short notice. We need to address the storm situation, and I'm going to turn it over to Barry.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, over the last 12 to 24 hours, Hurricane ETA has taken a number of paths, but most recently, it moved easterly and is coming up the coast of Florida. As a result, either hurricane or tropical storm, depending upon its size, poses a serious and potential threat to the residents and property of Pinellas County. This storm has the potential of causing substantial damage to public utilities, public buildings, communication systems, streets, drainage systems, and commercial and residential buildings. Today, before the Commission, I ask you to approve a resolution declaring a local state of emergency for Tropical Storm ETA, which would designate the sheriff as chief law enforcement officer and delegates authority for me to conduct evacuations, disaster-related debris removal, and appropriate funds as necessary to respond to this emergency. At this time, I'd like Kathy Perkins, our Director of Emergency Management, to give you an update on the storm. And then we also have the sheriff here that can talk about our response.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sorry I've been in front of you so much this year. As of this morning, when we woke up at 7 o'clock, the storm was a tropical storm, and now it's turned into a Category 1. That's not a surprise. That was expected in the forecast. It is expected to pull in more dry air and then weaken back down into a tropical storm. It is currently moving at 10 miles per hour, and the wind fields do extend out 115 miles from the center of the storm. You know, this has been a real tricky one for us, but I just want you to know that emergency management and all the partners have been meeting since last Friday and looking at how we can address this storm. Okay, not working. The most likely time of tropical storm force winds to arrive is at 3 p.m. today. That got moved back by 4 hours from last night. We expect this storm, because it is fast moving and relatively small in size, to exit our storm early in the morning. That bodes well, because you never want a storm to sit on top of you for long periods of time. We can have high tropical storm force winds experienced in our county. We are expecting about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall in the county, but the lakes and the streams have been lowered. Our storm water management folks are monitoring that. Our floodplain managers have been looking at that very closely. As Barry mentioned, we could have some storm surge in our county, could be 3 to 5 feet. We've been looking at that very closely. That level of storm surge does not necessitate us to take any mandatory evacuation levels. As a matter of precaution, we will be opening up 2 community centers to be able to have, for anybody that is worried, that doesn't feel safe staying at home. Both of these centers have generator backup. We'll have capacity to be able to serve special needs folks. We'll also have capacity to take in people with pets if they want to evacuate. Right now, we're under a tropical storm warning, a hurricane watch, a storm surge warning, a flash flood watch, or tornado watch, a high surf advisory, and a rip current statement. So this is not something for us to take lightly. We really want everybody in the community to be paying attention to the storm to make sure that they find a safe place to stay. If you do need to evacuate and go to one of the community centers, you will be welcome to do so. They will open at noon today. I'm not going to announce those locations because I don't want people showing up to the sites before we have them ready, but rest assured that staff are out there now setting everything up. We will have rapid testing for COVID available at the shelter sites. If we do have anybody that tests positive, we do have alternate locations for them to be able to go. We have expanded the capacity for people to 60 square foot per person. We will have masks and personal protective equipment as well as masks. We'll be doing increased cleaning. We'll have hand sanitizer there. I encourage anybody that's coming in, if you have your own masks, you can bring that with you. If you don't have it, we'll make that available for you. Schools, unfortunately, because things were looking fairly good last night, did decide to open up schools this morning, but they recognized very early on this morning that that was a problem. So they are in the process of doing early dismissal. The high schools at 10 a.m., elementary schools at 11 a.m., and the middle schools at 12 noon. And I know the sheriff's office is out there making sure that all those kids get across the streets and get out of the school safely. So we've been working very closely with our partners. Everybody's been leaning forward. We had everything set last night, and even though everybody was scaling back by about 2 o'clock, and we were thinking maybe things were looking better for us, when we got that text at 3:45, we were ready to go to turn that light switch on. So I just want the entire community to know that we've been planning, we've been preparing, we're ready for this. We need you to do your part. So you need to, determine your risk. If you think you're going to have surge or flooding in your home, you don't feel safe staying there, please come to one of the community centers that we have open. If you need assistance, call our Community Information Center line so that way we can help get you assistance that you need. The parks will be closing at noon today, and then I just got word that the Sunshine Skyway was closed down at 10:36 this morning due to high winds. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. We will be in the Emergency Operations Center overnight tonight. We'll have staff working on it. We're working with all of our crews for damage assessment. We'll be taking reports from now until this storm clears so we can stay on top of where the damages are, so we can address those as quickly as possible when the winds diminish and conditions are clear. That's it for me.
Questions of Kathy?
First of all, Kathy, just wanted to say thank you to your team. I know you all have done amazing work this whole year, and certainly this past week with regard to this storm. So thank your team for us. Just a couple of things. You said community center announcement. When will that be made, and where will people be able to find that information?
We'll put that out everywhere on the media. We expect them to be ready to open at noon.
So when will the announcement for them be?
As soon as I know that we are ready to pull the trigger and those doors are ready to open, we'll be making those announcements. I just don't want people standing out in the wind and rain before we get them open.
I get it. That's fine. It makes sense. And the CIC hours, they're open now, and they'll be open.
They'll be open until we decide we need to close them. So they'll be open all through the night as well.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kathy, just an outstanding job this year on a number of issues, including COVID. What about mobile homes, the folks who would normally be in a Zone A? What's our recommendation to them?
So we're not doing a Zone A evacuation.
Okay.
Part of the reason for us opening up the community centers, if we do have people that are in mobile homes that don't feel comfortable staying there, we do have the option for them to go there.
Okay, but there's not a mandatory order for mobile home folks?
No mandatory orders at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to say, it's not just me, it's the entire team, it's the entire county.
Absolutely.
So many partners involved. I think we had 180-some partners on our partner call this morning, and I actually think that's a low number. We've been up, I think, in the mid-200s before, so you got all hands on deck from every corner of this county, paying attention to it, also the region and the state.
Well, I just want to echo what's already been said, but you've done an amazing job this year. Absolutely amazing. So again, thank you to you and your team and to all 180 partners and more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And I just wanted to say, this year shall pass.
I hope so. And we are, so I just want to remind people, COVID's not over.
Yeah.
So, even if you're not going to come and stay in one of our community centers, if you're going to go shelter with friends or family that you haven't normally lived with, please make sure you take those protective measures, wear the masks when you're in the house with them. We're already working on the vaccine and what we're going to do for that. Unfortunately, we did have to close down our testing sites. I promise we'll get those back open as quickly as possible as soon as conditions allow. We have seen an uptick of people coming in for those tests. So rest assured, we have procedures in place at the shelters for that. But I just encourage, if you are going to stay with family or friends, you make sure you're wearing your masks, washing your hands, hand sanitizer, all the things that we've been talking about for months.
Yeah, just one other comment, if you don't mind. And when you said working on the vaccine, I just, again, I think the whole logistics part of that is specifically what you're talking about with regards to having the refrigeration components, how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, and all of that. So, obviously, what happens and when that gets determined, the right vaccine and all that, that's one thing. We have nothing to do with that. But once we get that product, what do we do with it and how do we get it out? All of that work's being done or being planned ahead of time. So it's so many fronts that you all are doing such a great job on. So thank you.
Yeah, as soon as we get past this storm, we'll get back on COVID.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Chair, any additional comments?
The only thing I just want to remind everybody is that this does have the potential for a significant wind event. And one of the things that concerns us, of course, is losing power, traffic lights, what happens at the intersections. So I'll make sure to remind everybody tomorrow morning before they go out, we'll be doing early damage assessments tomorrow by best accounts. And this is a very fluid storm, as we know, and it's ever changing, is that we're probably going to see the brunt of it somewhere around 1 a.m. this morning. It'll be here for a few hours, so just ask everybody to make sure before they leave their homes tomorrow to check. And if you don't need to leave right away, don't. We'll be again doing those damage assessments. One of the things that's very different about this is we're not doing any evacuations. And one of the main reasons is because the time is unavailable to do that. So people will be in place that ordinarily wouldn't. Normally we pull resources off the street at 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds. We will be doing that because of the safety of the officers and deputies and emergency services personnel. But we will also be more liberally responding to calls if needed, because we're going to have a lot more people in place, which does give us some concern. So we will have personnel staged around the county. I don't anticipate any road closures or closures to access to the beaches or the barrier islands unless the damage warrants closing. And that's the only time we will do that. And we'll play that on a situation-by-situation basis. So we'll have plenty of personnel available. This is a different situation because of the no evacuations, and it's kind of on us fast, but we'll have the resources there. So again, I just ask everybody to remember when the lights are out, 4-way stops, stay off the roads if you can, and just heed all the warnings. And if we do have to have those road closures, please be patient and cooperate. We'll get everything back open as soon as we possibly can.
And Commissioners, for tomorrow, your team, so Public Works has pre-positioning message boards out to the areas that, like on the barrier islands, over the bridges, to where we have equipment in place where we need it if necessary. Once the storm dies down to where it's safe for them to be out, they'll be going out, clearing roadways, doing damage assessment, and so the teams between Public Works, Utilities, and Planning and Building Development will be out conducting those operations first thing in the morning. So we'll have a better assessment come light, and we'll give you an update once we see exactly what happens. In the meantime, though, we will be closing county buildings for tomorrow. Keep people off the roads, keeping people safe, and we'll resume normal operations on Friday. With that, we do have a planned meeting for tomorrow, so I wanted to just bring up to discuss if you're okay with postponing that meeting to Friday, because tomorrow, obviously, we don't know what the conditions of the road will be, and so.
Unfortunately, on Friday, I have the post-election audit for the canvassing board, so I will not be present.
Okay.
But I'll be present next Tuesday.
Okay.
I won't.
Is anybody else going to miss that meeting on Friday?
We could do it a couple of different ways. I'm just bringing it up because.
Commissioner Long?
We have a T-BARTA board meeting in Pasco County on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I can certainly miss it, but
Well, I'll just put out, we can hold it on Friday, or we could extend and do a work session immediately following the commission meeting on Tuesday for the work session items. So I'm just throwing that up for a discussion. I haven't asked you about that yet, but.
You haven't.
I know, I was just saying, because I heard a couple people.
could we do it
Yeah.
on Monday? Just for kicks.
Or we can do it on Friday and just two will miss, and we could brief you independently. It's up to you.
If it's a consideration, Madam Chair, Tuesday is fine if it works for the majority.
But actually, we'd like to have you there.
I can come Tuesday and sit in the audience.
Well, we do
Well,
have, so the issue we have is we have work session items that, I don't want to get further behind on.
Right.
So we have 4 items on that. So
It's on the,
we have the affordable housing. So we're going to roll out, this is our first round of affordable housing, what we've been talking about for a couple of years. So, that's a big item. We've got human trafficking, and we're going to give you an update of our role in that. And then the other item could be postponed. That is talking about the pre-qualification process through our purchasing. So the big item is the affordable housing, if we could do that on Friday.
what do we think about Monday?
Monday's good. I was just going to suggest Monday's good for me.
No.
Monday.
No,
I can't do Monday.
I can't do Monday.
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine with you all going ahead on Friday. If I can, because I'm in the canvassing room, I could
Right.
try to Zoom, but we'll see. I would have to be flexible, or you guys
Right.
would have to be flexible with me. But I've already reviewed all the presentations for the work session, so I'm very comfortable missing it.
Okay. We'll do Friday.
Friday? Okay, so we'll postpone the meeting until Friday at 9:30, same time?
Right here.
Right here.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Justice.
Well, and that's, I think it's important because I think there's a few items on the agenda that have some meat to them that we are going to want to have that briefing on before we have the meeting on Tuesday.
Right.
But Madam Chair, if you're ready, I'd like to make a motion to approve the declaration of state of emergency.
Oh, that.
Second.
Okay, great. Thank you for remembering that. Okay, any questions about that? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we are adjourned.